Hey guys, what's going on? Just want to show you an Easter egg that I think I figured out slash solved, something that's always been there since the Black Ops 1 first came out. And I have a couple of disclaimers I usually tell people. First one is most of these now are made and geared towards the Treyarch devs, because I know the zombies community can be very toxic. You know, if it's not their favorite zombies YouTuber that solves it, you know, they discredit it, they hate it, you know, all that nonsense. Second part is I pretty much played a lot of these maps when they first came out, but I was always high round and just kind of like bunker down and try and last as long as you could. Never really got too much into the backstory and the Easter eggs, just because I never had anybody else to play with, and the Easter eggs can be complicated. In the older maps, it's not so bad. You can hold crawlers and stuff like that, but some of them you do require 4 players to complete the Easter egg, and pretty much Black Ops 1's 2, 3, maybe 4. But anyways, those are just the 2 disclaimers. I'm not upset if you don't believe it or you're mad or whatever. Like I said, try and make these now towards the devs that know that these are either a solve or not a solve, whereas the zombies community is just kind of like they just poo-poo on everybody's Easter egg solves, if they're not their favorite YouTuber that solved it and stuff like that. And then again, like I'm just kind of going back to the old games and maps and looking for old Easter eggs that the zombie community didn't solve. It's been about almost 10 years, so I figure I'd go back and look at a couple things. Most of it, and kind of maybe the third disclaimer, I fully understand. I'm pretty bad at ciphers, and the zombies community is pretty bad at visual Easter eggs. That even Blundell has said that. I think he said that pretty much the visual ones that people walk by every day. And keep in mind, this game has been out for almost 10 years. It's kind of an Easter egg that they sit and they're like, wow, people have actually missed that every single time they walk by it. So, anyways, let me kind of get into it. First thing is on Kino Der Toten, there's a film reel, and this is going to make sense to a lot of people, maybe even including me. I probably would have figured it out back then, but like I said, I never really dived into it. So I'll let it play, and then you yourself are probably going to figure it out on your own once you see it, and that's the thing. Sometimes you just have to stop and look at it, or maybe somebody point it out to you, then you'll notice it. So I'll let it play, then I'll kind of go back and recap. And maybe for the last turn, I'll let it. I'll explain a little bit. Okay, so for the first clip, and I'll let it go to that part. Okay, so what it is, it's 2 things, obviously, and the first one tricked everyone, including myself. But then again, like I said, keep in mind, I never really went and looked for Easter eggs. I kind of started with Black Ops 3, Shadows of Evil, kind of got more involved in the storyline. I used to play Black Ops 2 and did transit and all that stuff, but like I said, the lobbies are just terrible. People are just like, they go down on the first round, second round, maybe the first dog round, stuff like that. People rage quit all the time, so it's hard for me to do Easter egg steps, but stuff like this I'm pretty good at. So, as like I said, going back now, looking at it, most people, including myself the first time around, thought that was an eye. It looks like an eyeball. It looks exactly like an eyeball, and this is kind of the pupil, I believe, or the iris, if I'm not mistaken. But if you look at it a second time, like I am now, it is the sky and a meteor crashing down. You're on top of it, like bird's eye view, aerial type view, and it's kind of like these are like the flames, I guess, coming from the fireball. Next one is it's a little bit lower, getting closer to the ground. Now, obviously, we know that Tunguska is the final map, maybe, and this could be like the Black Forest, and this could be the sky, and these are just flames, and this is maybe the 115 meteor that's crashing downwards. You're on top of it, looking down. And the last one, which is probably, whoops, is probably the most important one that maybe people figured out. This is actually the Tunguska Forest after the meteor has crashed, or maybe blowing up in the sky. Because I know they say it doesn't technically crash on Earth. A lot of meteors explode over the Earth when the atmosphere and the pressure kind of gets too much. It it kind of just implodes on itself. It explodes. The pressure makes it explode. So this is the fireball in the sky, and this is the forest where the trees are laid down afterwards. And then what I think the last one might be is maybe how DLC 4 is gonna end. It's gonna destroy maybe the facility or maybe the crew. Maybe we weren't able to stop the meteor, or maybe Group 935 will be able to stop the meteorite before it crashes down the Earth. So I'll kind of play it again, maybe do a quick little recap, but you'll see it now afterwards. So that's the main fireball, the forest crashing down. It gets a little bit closer, it explodes, and then, it explodes, and then you see the forest here. Now you're probably wondering, what Tunguska Forest event am I talking about? So that's where I have this photo available, which it looks like this is what they kind of imposed over there. Like they maybe made it look a little bit more blurry, but obviously you'll see the black and white image, and these are the forest after it exploded, and this one is really, really bad, obviously. But I mean, that's assuming it is element 115 that in the story crashed. Because there's a lot of things that happen in Tunguska, or there's a lot of theories. The one that I kind of liked, that I thought maybe they would use, would be Nikola Tesla made a death ray, and it maybe exploded, or the experiment itself exploded in Tunguska, which caused all the trees to get knocked down. But it looks like, this being the most famous one, I'm guessing it looks like that is the one that Treyarch used for this image. It looks very, very similar, or maybe their own interpretation on the way that the forest looks afterwards. So it's just something I wanted to point out. Like I said, I'm not upset if you don't believe it, because I don't expect a lot of people to. It's just the way the zombies community is. Like I said, I make this more towards the devs now, and maybe the people at Treyarch, Jimmy Zielinski that used to be there, and some of the guys that started with Jimmy and Jesse Snyder that might still be there, which I know some of them are, maybe Brian Toohey and Kevin Sherwood. But I just think it would be something cool. Like I said, and at the time, don't be mad at yourself. Don't be upset, because most people thought that was an eyeball, and it looks like an eyeball, and then it looks like it's focusing in, or could be just a double layer Easter egg where, maybe the fireball is about to explode, or it did explode, and then your eyeball, your iris or your pupil shrinks so the light doesn't blind you, and then it opens when it's really dark, so more light can go through it. So that's just something I wanted to point out. This is the main clue. I said, hey, because I've been doing a lot of research, I said, hey, that looks exactly like the forest. And I let it play, and I'm like, wow, that's the fireball, element 115 crashing, getting lower to the ground and exploding. The last one's the most curious one, because it either means that's how Group 115 formed, or how it's going to get destroyed. So that's the one that's the real mystery for me, or the final puzzle. Is like, does that mean that's how they're actually all going to die? They won't be able to save it, or save the Earth, and maybe that's how. But the only thing is, in the story or in real life, it only destroys Tunguska. It doesn't destroy the whole Earth, unless this is just maybe the zombies part of it, and maybe the nukes from the moon is the stuff that destroys it. Anyways, that's just something I wanted to point out as a new kind of solve. Pretty cool when you look at it now. Like I said, I'll be honest, on the flip side, I tip my hat to all the cipher solvers, because I don't have time, and it's difficult, and there's math and numbers involved. And then on the flip side, it's just the way people are. You're either like a visual person or numbers person or a thinker. Not one person can do all of the same thing. So I'm sure the cipher solvers, I'm like, wow, how'd you figure that out? And then me, on the other hand, is like, how did the cipher solvers figure out some of that stuff? It's just, we kind of like complement each other, and that's what kind of makes it kind of jive really well. Anyways, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching.